Good.
Lots to lots to recap from a crazy week. Lots to look forward to. Only one more full week before Election Day, which is wild. Obviously got lots of stories I want to dig into throughout the afternoon, but want to start with just asking the both of you. Gabe, you first. How do you feel about the momentum in this race at this moment? And I mean overall, well, the presidential race, about the various amendments in Missouri and good or bad decisions being made. Like, are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? What's your gut feeling right now about the state of this election?
I am cautiously optimistic, and with an emphasis on cautious.
Yeah,
I certainly don't want to get caught in the whole red wave that wasn't sort of mentality, because gosh, that feeling was not good. And I think part of the feeling of inevitability of a red victory in that period kind of lulled a lot of Republican voters into complacency, and they didn't turn out in the numbers they needed to actually win. So but in terms of momentum, it seems to be on the side of the good guys, as they say.
Ken, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually, while he was saying cautiously optimistic, I was thinking the exact same thing. And I think it's also, I think it's a survival mechanism, Gabe, to feel that way because of what we have experienced. I mean, even on our show, on the Vic Porcelli show, we still say, do not say those words or we're going to beep you. And that
Yes.
and that's the way we feel. But I'm really encouraged by the numbers of early voting. I think that, okay, finally the Republicans got their head in the game and decided, oh, early voting? Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. And it's important to early vote. I know the lines have been long at the early voting places in our area, but it's there. It's a tool that you have available to you that you should take advantage of, especially if there's any chance of you not being able to vote on Election Day. Get it out of make sure you vote.
And guys, I have to say this at every turn until the election, please do not take it for granted. Get out there.
Yes.
And if you can bring another person, 2 people, 3, 10, like Dan Bongino says, of course, that's kind of a high number. But hey, if you can bring one person with you, please get out there and vote. And if you can, vote early.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the momentum, and I agree with both of you, and now specifically talking about the presidential election, the momentum that seems to be on Donald Trump's side is there's another story that just continues that trend today. The Washington Post announced today that it will not be endorsing a presidential candidate for the first time in 36 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a statement, the Washington Post said, quote, "The Washington Post will not be making an endorsement of a presidential candidate in this election, nor any further presidential elections."
Oh,
we are returning. We are returning to our roots of not endorsing presidential candidates, which again, their roots are decades old, at least, because it's been 36 years since they didn't endorse a president, and they endorsed presidents even before that. That's just the last time that they took a pass on a particular election. I think you have to go back to the 50s before they hadn't ever made an endorsement. The publisher of the Washington Post called the decision, quote, "a statement in support of our readers' ability to make up their own minds on this, the most consequential of American decisions, whom to vote for as the next president." So Washington Post not endorsing a presidential candidate for the first time in 36 years. Also this week, I don't know if either of you guys talked about this on your shows this week. I saw the headlines, but didn't get a chance to talk about it. The LA Times also announced earlier this week that they wouldn't be endorsing a candidate for the first time since 2008. As a result, the paper's editorial editor, Mariel Garza, resigned because over the owner's decision to not endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. This editor at the LA Times resigned because the LA Times wouldn't endorse Kamala Harris. They did the same thing the Washington Post did, and said we're not endorsing anyone this year. And we all know that when a mainstream, especially the Washington Post might be the most liberal news outlet. I mean, if you're used to watching television and you're familiar with, just the TV networks like CNN, MSNBC, we're talking about MSNBC level, maybe even worse. That's where the Washington Post is.
Yep.
And they are not endorsing. So by not endorsing Kamala Harris, it's basically an endorsement of Donald Trump because they're so liberal that the fact that she scares even them enough or doesn't instill them with enough confidence. I mean, can add this up to, so this week we see these major papers, going against their own trend of endorsing presidential candidates, typically Democrats. We've seen how much Kamala Harris is struggling with the black vote, with the Hispanic vote. Kamala Harris isn't getting all the endorsements from unions like normal Democrats would. I mean, it's just over and over and over again. All of the things that just like come automatically to Democrats are not coming to her.
No, and you hear a lot of senators in swing states.
Yes, that's another one.
They're purposely not saying anything about Kamala. In fact, what they're doing, guys, is they're saying stuff about Trump. Yeah, I would do this with Trump. Trump and we have the same idea on this thing. Coons, I saw an ad on KSDK that it's Josh Hawley's opponent.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's referring to Donald Trump as being more aligned with his opinions, I guess, than he doesn't even mention Kamala Harris. He won't even say her name.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe, they're talking about it on television right now. It's unbelievable. I swear they listen. Gabe, I mean, like, does that send any signals to you specifically? The unions that always endorse the Democratic candidate, not endorsing anybody. These newspapers that always endorse the Democratic candidate, not endorsing anybody. The numbers that we've seen in traditionally Democratic stronghold demographics like the black vote and the Latino vote, not looking so good. I mean, does all of that put together a sign or, a direction that this country's going in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the equivalent of a vote of no confidence. If your normal allies are quiet when they need to be loud, that's saying, well, like, I'm usually with you, but maybe not this time. I mean, you even got the sycophantic cultural touchstone type people like your Mark Cubans of the world who are suddenly saying, well, I could work with President Trump, basically.
Yeah, he said it.
Hold on, wait a minute. You've been talking about how this man is the most dangerous individual on the face of the planet. He's like, you're one of the top, Hitler rhetoric type people out there, and all of a sudden you can work with him. Whoa, okay. Well, I see you're reading the tea leaves.
So you can work with Hitler then, huh? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay.
Speaking of Hitler, how about that segue? Emily, I'm going to play this.
Hitler hasn't been this famous since 1938.
No kidding. I'm going to play a piece of sound here. Speaking of Hitler, I don't know if, Ken, I know you heard the Hillary Clinton sound.
Oh, yeah.
From this interview earlier today. Gabe, have you seen this
People
yet?
need to hear this.
Hillary Clinton accusing Trump of reenacting a Nazi rally. What?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard this one.
Well, here,
Check it
strap in. This is earlier this morning on CNN. This is Hillary Clinton this morning on CNN talking about Donald Trump and this election.
One other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it. Now, it may be a leap for some people, and a lot of others may think, I don't want to go there. I don't want to say that. But please open your eyes to the danger that this man poses to our country, because I think it is clear and present for anybody paying attention.
Huh.
Gabe, what
Hey,
the
it's
hell
the new-
is she talking about?
It's the new basket of deplorables, guys. Because
What is she
because-
talking about? 1939. In 1939, neo-Nazis lined up outside of Madison Square Garden because of to endorse the kind of government that was happening in Germany. What? Okay, what are we talking about? Like,
Well,
how
he's
is
drawing
so
an
Trump's
equivalency.
having
So
Trump's having a rally at Madison Square Garden, ipso facto, he's reenacting a Nazi rally? What?
Well, here's the thing: if Trump is Hitler in the minds of all of these people, if he is that figure, then everything he does and all of his supporters and all everything are just parallels to to past events. So it's basically if you put the Hitler glasses on, everybody suddenly got that tiny little mustache.
It's the new deplorables. She's
Yes.
what she's doing right now, guys, is she's trying to create a chilling effect so people won't show up there. It's a fear that they have that Donald Trump is going to fill Madison Square Garden in the state and city of New York. That's going to be an amazing event if that happens. And it's not completely out of the question, Gabe, if he can turn New York City red. Or turn New York red. I mean, it's not completely out of the question.
You know what? That's another point, Ken. I'm glad you brought that up. We're talking about all of these signs of, the possible momentum heading into this presidential election, and we laid out all those. That's another one. The fact that we've even talked about, the fact that you can even say that there's a possibility,
remote possibility
of New York going red. And we've talked about, over the last few months, exactly, Gabe, we've talked about, there's been stories about New Jersey, about Minnesota, about other, like states that are true blue, that the fact that we're even having that conversation doesn't even mean that Trump's going to win. But the fact that that's even discussed as a possibility shows you how different this election potentially is shaping up to be. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, Gabe, just to wrap up the point, I want to get into some of the local issues and amendments and things before we run out of time with both of you. So we're going to get into that here in just a second. But just to wrap this up, Ken and I were talking right before the show. If everybody's a Nazi, nobody's a Nazi. If everybody's Hitler, nobody's Hitler. And that
if everybody's racist,
everybody's racist, nobody's racist. And it's just been, we've just heard this comparison. I'm so sick of the word Nazis, and I'm so sick of the word Hitler. It's like does Hillary Clinton and whatever this babbling was, is this an obvious sign of desperation? And does it work anymore? Does invoking Hitler and the Nazis have any impact on voters, in your opinion, Gabe?
Oh, no. I mean, well, actually, I think it has kind of the opposite effect. Because at this point, when people are attacking you in such a blatantly dishonest and disingenuous sort of way, then now the suspicion is on them. It's like, well, what are you trying to deflect from if you keep going to this Hitler well? It's like, it's obviously not true. He's already been in the White House for 4 years, and he didn't do any of the crazy stuff you said he was going to do then.
Yes.
Why should we believe you now?
Exactly. Go ahead, Ken.
To Gabe's point, he's exactly right, because last night, Gabe, on social media, I saw a Black American talking about on video on TikTok. He's like, okay, I've been a Democrat. I voted for Obama. And I got to tell you, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that Trump is Hitler. I had to investigate. When I started investigating, I started to realize, whoa, these are all lies. So therefore, I deduced that the media is lying to me. The Democrat Party is lying to me. And I looked further and found out, you know what? Trump's not a racist. Guess what? All those things are lies. He did this like 7 or 8 minute thing about how upset he is that he's been lied to for all these years, and he got red pilled is what had happened. And it comes down to what you said though, Gabe.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've never seen. Obviously, we've never seen anything like this election in the way that is shaping up, and anything could happen, and nobody should ever take anything for granted, as we stressed, throughout this conversation. But it definitely feels like the Democrats have been exposed for who they are, and
Yeah.
at least at a higher level than usual.
Right.
They're not getting away with the lies and the misdirection and just getting
misinformation.
and getting the automatic support from places. They're not getting the automatic votes or support from demographics that maybe have been there, for them in the past. It seems like people are, whether it be the Democrats and the platform as a whole, or it's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz specifically as people, they're just not getting away with or connecting with voters like Democrats of the past have.
Well, if you guys will notice that the Democrat fascist party is what I call them today, they're trying to increase this idea of mis and disinformation on social media. The reason why they're trying to do this is because we're getting our information now. We're getting more information now, and you've got less and less low information voters. When you have less low information voters, you have less, in my opinion, Democrat voters.
Yes, that's a great point. That is a great point. I think you're exactly right. The more educated voters are in general, the less of a chance they are going to support the Democratic candidate.
Yeah.
Because you learn about just how dangerous that platform is, and especially now, especially this form of the Democratic Party that we are seeing in 2024, more extreme than any time that I can remember in the past.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then also, at the end of the day, Gabe, it's also a popularity contest. I mean, at the end of the day, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
popularity contest. And I've said many times in 2016, Donald Trump, you got to remember, Donald Trump in 2016 is not the Donald Trump of today. I don't think he would have beat anybody else in a presidential election except Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton was so wildly unpopular. She is just somebody who you don't like to look at. And people were just not motivated. They, like they were with Barack Obama. They were motivated to go vote for Barack Obama. He was popular. He was engaging. He connected with people. Hillary Clinton was so unlikable that I think she was the perfect opponent for Donald Trump to be able to ascend to the presidency and now obviously become the candidate and the political force that he is now. But that wasn't the case in 2016. And I don't know. I didn't think there could ever be a more unappealing presidential candidate than Hillary Clinton. But I think Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are cut out of the same cloth. They're just not, people just don't like them. They're just not popular people. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, two things. One, I think the more people get to know Kamala Harris, the more the closer she gets to Hillary level dislike, because she is not a likable person. She just isn't. She's not even as smart as Hillary, so it's kind of a double whammy. So she's not just unlikable, but she's dumb. So you've got that thing.
That's actually a great point.
And then,
go ahead.
And then to your earlier point about the demographic losses that the Democrats seem to be suffering from, for instance, the Hispanic and the Black vote. Look, if Donald Trump pulls the types of the levels of support that exceed his previous records, which is pretty significant. If he starts getting into the 20% area of the Black vote, he puts Atlanta into play, and there's Georgia. He wins Georgia with 20% of the Black vote. So things like that, I think, can really turn this election. And I'm just curious to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are so close. We've only got one more full week to go, about a week and a half until Election Day, and we have you covered here at News Talk STL with all of the information and preparation, and of course on election night and beyond. Everything you need to know about this election, we have you covered here at News Talk STL. All right, let's continue talking about the coming election, but let's switch from the national platform to the local platform. Of course, we've got our Missouri Voters Guide up at newstalkstl.com. Let's talk about some of those amendments, some of those candidates, some of those decisions that Missouri voters are going to be tasked with making on Election Day. And we will do that as we continue with Ken Williams and Gabe Pfeiffer here on Colombo and Company.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion.
Talked to our buddy Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors on the show yesterday at 3 o'clock. If you missed any of that conversation, make sure you go back and check it out on the podcast. Great stuff there from Mark. And of course, you could hear us, Mark and myself, every week on the Bluff City Outdoors show right here on News Talk STL, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m., Sundays at noon. And this is like the Super Bowl time, the World Series time for the outdoor community and for all of the products and services, all the things that Bluff City Outdoors can bring to the outdoors community. This is the time of year that it's probably the most things going on. It's a great time, maybe the best time of the year to be out on the water fishing. We're also in archery season, hunting season in both Missouri and Illinois. Trapping season in the area is just a couple weeks away, and nobody has more products and services when it comes to fishing and bow hunting and trapping than the team at Bluff City Outdoors. Don't forget, they also have their state-of-the-art archery range that's open every day, 7 days a week, that you can shoot in. They have the best bow techs in the area, so if you need your bow restrung, or if you need any repairs or new equipment, they've got you covered on all of that at Bluff City Outdoors. They're about a mile east of Fast Eddie's. They're on Broadway in Alton, and they are the go-to place for fishermen, hunters, trappers, and anything else that you're doing in the great outdoors. Bluff City Outdoors in Alton has you covered. Learn more about Bluff City Outdoors by following them on Facebook or at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
For over 50 years, Di Gregorio's Italian Market has been serving up a taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned and operated, nestled in the heart of the hill. From homemade sausage and meatballs to spadini, pizzas, pastas, and sauces, our wide variety of Italian specialties will transport your taste buds straight to Rome. For a truly authentic Italian shopping experience, visit your friends at Di Gregorio's. Shop local, shop Di Gregorio's Italian Market, where every bite tells a story.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
America Decides 2024.
Harry J's Steakhouse in Moscow Mills brings you Election Night 2024. You have to get out and vote. Election results, analysis, and opinion from the local conservative voices you know and trust.
Republicans,
Democrats,
Independents. Coverage begins Tuesday, November 5th at 7 p.m. with St. Louis's true conservative voice.
right here.
News Talk STL. Brought to you by DG Firearms in Bowling Green and Senior Memorial Life.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Get a shiver in the dark.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 119.94.1 News Talk STL. Big thanks to Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning for being a part of that first segment. We are rolling on here with Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show. I want to remind you, not only can you hear Gabe every morning with Mike and Stell starting at 5:30 a.m. every weekday here at News Talk STL on Mike Ferguson in the morning, but also you can check out Gabe on his YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher on YouTube. Gabe's got a lot of great videos there on his YouTube channel, so check it out. All right, as I mentioned, Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show sticking around here in the studio with us. We are going to get the all-important weekend forecast from Steve Templeton in about 15 minutes, so keep it here for that, and then we'll wrap up the week. We'll wrap up the day. As we have been every Friday leading up to Halloween with the guys from the Haunted Garage. They'll be in studio with us in the 3 o'clock hour. So looking forward to that. All right, Ken, as I mentioned, I want to switch into some of the more local issues, some of the local amendments and races that are, going to be decided here in less than 2 weeks on Election Day.
Yeah.
There's a national story that points to, I think, how important Amendment 7 is here in Missouri. So we've talked about Amendment 7 a lot, and it's getting some of the attention, but with Amendment 3, the abortion amendment, which we'll talk about, and Amendment 2, the sports betting, I feel like those are the two that are sucking up most of the air in the room.
Yeah.
Whereas, and that's fine, and that's understandable because they are both extremely important as well. But Amendment 7, I think, is equally and as important. And this is the amendment about requiring citizens to vote and banning ranked choice voting. So here's a perfect example, in my opinion, of why Amendment 7 is so important. And Ken, I want to read the story, and then I want to get your thoughts on this and, expanded on Amendment 7 and its importance. A federal judge today ordered Virginia to halt its removal of potential non-citizens from state voter rolls, a decision expected to restore the voting rights of over 1,600 residents ahead of Election Day. U.S. Judge Patricia Giles issued a preliminary injunction today to reinstate all voters that had been removed from the state voter rolls in the state over the last 90 days, finding that the removals had been in fact systematic, not individualized, and were thus a violation of federal law. In issuing the injunction, Giles said that there is reason to believe voters were being mistakenly removed from the polls, saying, quote, "This process has resulted in eligible voters having their voting registration flagged," she said, the judge said. And while the judge concurred, it is undoubtedly in the public interest for ineligible voters to be removed. She noted it is also in the public interest for states to comply with federal law, particularly the right to vote. This news comes just weeks after the Department of Justice sued Virginia over its program, arguing that the removals that were being conducted too close to the November 5th elections and violate the National Voter Registration Act, a federal law that requires states to halt systematic voter roll maintenance for a 90-day quiet period before an election. I'm going to pause there because there's more. There's a lot here, obviously.
Yeah.
Can we just point out that the federal law? There's a federal law. I'm just learning about this. I'm sure we have some scholars out there. I know, but there's a federal law that says you can, even if you find ineligible voters, non-citizen voters, whatever it is, if you're within 90 days of an election, you can't do anything about it. Like, that's what this says. It says that there is a federal law that requires states to halt systematic voter roll maintenance for a 90-day quiet period before an election. What? So for 3 months before every election, a state, if you find,
that's a federal law?
That's a federal law. It's the law that's being used to overturn this decision in Virginia. I mean, it's in this case, it's not even a federal law. It's the federal law that this whole thing is based off of.
That's a part of the bureaucracy that we have to have taken care of. When Trump gets in there, he has got to do something about some of this stuff. This is crazy. And I've had conversations with family members, and I said, illegals can vote in this federal election. They're like, no way. I know how hard it is to get a driver's license. And it is. If you take an American citizen and say, hey, how hard is it
to have a driver's license everywhere?
Well, here's the thing, Tony. for Americans, it is hard to get a driver's license. You need identification after identification after identification. If you're illegal, they hand you a driver's license.
No problem whatsoever.
No problem whatsoever. And you know what? If you have a bill from an apartment that they gave you, you're an American voter at that point.
It really is an entirely different set of laws and rules for the illegal immigrants.
It's crazy.
It's an entirely different system.
I know we're going to talk about 3 and the other. I know we're going to talk about different things, but this particular one, number 7, you've got to. This is the most important one. You've got to vote yes on this one, because this is the most. This one is going to decide on everything else that we're going to talk about. Because allowing these people, and I'm talking about illegals, illegal immigrants to vote, is the most dangerous thing that we face as a country.
Yes, agreed. In continuing this story out of Virginia, Justice Department officials who cited concerns that eligible votes may have been incorrectly removed from the rolls without adequate notice or enough time to correct the mistake. Quote, states may remove names from official lists of voters in various ways and for various reasons, but they may not carry on this kind of systematic removal program so close to a federal election, DOJ officials wrote in their filing on October 11th. The injunction upholds this line of thinking and sparked fierce, immediate pushback from Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who has insisted the voters who were removed legally, and has himself objected to the court ruling less than 2 weeks before this election. He said, quote, this is a stunning ruling by a federal judge who is ordering Virginia to reinstate individuals who have self-identified as non-citizens back into voter rolls. Youngkin insisted that the voters were removed illegally and is based on on precedent from a 2006 state law enacted by then Governor Tim Kaine, who's a Democrat. It's the Democrat law that he's even enforcing here, Youngkin. And Youngkin previously defended the state system, which he insists is not systematic, which is that's the key word to this whole thing, is that the federal judge had determined that this was a systematic practice and not individualized. Youngkin says it is very much is individualized and not systematic. And he has filed an immediate injunction he's filed for an injunction on the injunction. Good luck with that. Not going to happen. But again, big picture story here. This is why, as Ken was just saying, Amendment 7 is so important, because this mess that they're going through in Virginia is what we need to protect against in Missouri and in other places. It just needs to be crystal clear in black and white. I know that people don't, I know that it's unbelievable to many, myself included, that that's already not in black and white, that you have to be an American citizen to vote in an American election. But it's not. It needs to be firmly crystal clear in the state constitution everywhere, in my opinion. We can only control, here in Missouri, or Illinois can only control what's happening in Illinois with their constitution. But this story, this disaster that's happening in Virginia, I think is a perfect example of why Amendment 7 is so important next Tuesday.
Yeah, and I don't know what states do this, but apparently there are states that if an illegal alien comes into a voter registration, voting place, and says, I'm an American, all they have to say is, I'm an American. They cannot question it. They can give them a provisional ballot, and they can let them vote. Now, here's the other part of it, though. How many illegal aliens are going to do this? Because, Tony, technically, legally, if they're caught voting illegally like that, it's a felony, and they will be deported. So here's I think the brighter side of this is, how many illegal aliens that are in this country are going to risk, just to vote for Kamala Harris, risk them being deported? I don't know if that's as high of a number as Kamala Harris thinks it's going to be.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. And again, it's a joke that we're even that whole story. There's so much going there.
Yeah.
There's so many layers of that onion.
Oh,
that are just
big
ridiculous. it shouldn't be this complicated. If you're going to vote for president of the United States, then you should be a citizen of the United States. It's that. I mean, it couldn't be any more simple, but unfortunately, it's not that simple.
And federally, they say, well, you have to be an American citizen. Okay, great. And that's what the Democrats tell you. Oh, it's already a federal law. What are you guys doing? You guys are nitpicking here. No, because the way they do it in states is a little bit different, and each state is different. And I can tell you something. We need to actually go back to paper ballots, voting in one day. I mean, this thing is getting so far out of hand, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in Taiwan, they just had an election there. 26 million people voted. They counted the votes accurately in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Now, no state in this union has more than 26 million people per state.
Right.
So each state could get their votes in 6 hours.
We always did before.
We always did it before.
We always did before.
We need somehow we need to get back to that, because if we don't, Tony, we're going to lose this country.
Well,
the sovereignty of this country is at stake.
And I'll tell you what, we were talking about early voting earlier, and how that's record numbers, including here in Missouri. We've heard about the long lines at the early voting places here locally. If all of these people are voting early, that's even less of an excuse. It gives you less of an excuse to have things done on election night.
Right.
If we've got record early voting across the country, that should make things even easier. Now, I know there are some states that say they don't count the votes until
the closing, until the election polling places close.
Yeah, but some count the votes before and just don't release them, which in my opinion is the way it should be in a perfect world, if you can trust everybody, because you should have that ready to go. You can't obviously release that information because that could, motivate, that could impact people's vote. But if we have all these votes tabulated ahead of time, that's even less of an excuse to not have an answer next Tuesday night before we all go to bed. And you're right. This is, it can't continue like this. I think that since early voting is so prevalent and available, you should take advantage of it. In a perfect world for me, we go back to voting on election day.
Yeah. Voting and tabulating.
Yeah. And it takes a provisional ballot like the old days. Like you need to have a very good excuse on why you would vote early. Like, if you're traveling for work and you're not going to be in the country or something like that, like not just open it, but since it is open, like it is, you should absolutely take advantage of it and use it. But in my perfect world, we vote on election day.
And our military needs to vote. And we should have.
Yeah, of course.
And having mail-in ballots for them only. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to open it up again. It's going to be for everybody. So restricted to our military for mail-in voting. That there are some other extreme excuses, or reasons.
Right.
But
there are valid ones too. And
they're valid. If you're out of the country,
if you're traveling for work and you're going to be out of the country and you vote ahead of time,
but they're few and far in between.
Right. Yes. In my perfect world, that's the way it would be. But
and my only statement is, let's get rid of these damn machines. These electronic machines. I'm not saying any names or anything. I'm just saying, get rid of the machines. Get rid of that software that can be hacked. If there is software that can be hacked, in my opinion, I think this is what is one of the downfalls of our voting system.
Yeah, no, I agree. Until we get, it needs to be the most trustworthy, foolproof way to vote. And right now, as we've seen it, the way that we conduct electronic voting in this country does not instill that confidence in it. And until it does, in my opinion, it's better to do it the old-fashioned way.
Tony, and there were reports in 2020. A programmer came in and showed them, not because they claimed that they can't get access to the internet with these machines.
Right.
Okay, now I don't know which machine it was, but he said, here's the machine we're using here.
Yeah.
And he said, not only can you get access to it from the internet, but the information gets uploaded to someone, they can manipulate it and then download it back into the machine. That's wrong.
They've talked about
It's wrong.
They've talked about setting it up so you could just vote from your phone.
It's wrong.
From anywhere.
It's wrong.
Like just log into an app or a website and just vote from your phone from anywhere. I mean, we've got a long way to go to firm up the systems that we use now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and make things even worse and more confusing before all of that happens.
I'd rather dip my finger into purple ink.
Yeah, exactly. And just to wrap up the conversation here about Amendment 7 and its importance, it also, along with the citizenship making it a requirement that you be an American citizen to vote, it also prohibits ranked choice voting in the state of Missouri, which I think is also an important. Speaking of confusing the system, muddying the waters, making people less confident that their vote means anything.
Right.
The confusion that comes along with ranked choice voting.
It's a mess. It's a disaster.
And there's not even one way of there's various ways of doing ranked voting too. Like it's so messy.
And why? Why? I mean, hey, let's try ranked voting.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We're basically out of time here, Ken, but
I know.
We've got to remind people that the Missouri Voters Guide is up at newstalkstl.com if you want to see all the various amendments that are going to be on the ballot, all the races, particularly the statewide races and some of the other federal races are all on newstalkstl.com, the 2024 Missouri Voters Guide for you to go and check out. And I know you guys are going to be, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Tony, Teresa Douglas was on with us earlier this week, and she's with the South County Republican Party. And she actually has a really intense list of judges. So if you've got a question, a lot of our listeners have questions about what judge to choose.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that's always a big one.
And because you don't know, but she tracked them for like 2 years and got their rulings and put them into a classification really easy to read. And it's either a yes or a no from her opinion. But she tells you the criteria that she used, and it's up on our website.
Yeah, that's awesome. So check all that out at newstalkstl.com. Make sure you're listening to Ken Williams and Vic Porcelli on the Vic Porcelli Show all next week and every weekday at 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Ken, thanks for putting a little overtime in with us on a Friday.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Speaking of that weekend, we are going to get the all-important weekend forecast from Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. He joins us next here on Colombo and Company.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, national headlines and things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
Love telling people about Intervine and Intervine.com, the local family-owned business that makes the best flashlights, lanterns, and headlamps on the market. Intervine, again, a local business, but has absolutely just exploded in growth over the last few years. And because of online selling and things like that, they have customers all over the country. And it's just great to see a local family-owned business that does things right, provides exceptional products at a great price for their customers. And we were talking earlier about this time of year being so important to outdoorsmen. A great time to fish, great time to hunt, trapping season right around the corner. If you need that heavy duty equipment, a flashlight, lantern, headlamp, Intervine has you covered there. But they also have, if you just need a small, reliable flashlight or, light source for the vehicle or something in your home, Intervine has something for everyone. They also have batteries in all different sizes, so you can stock up on your batteries at Intervine.com, and you can do it all at a great price because right now they have an incredible offer, 25% off everything at Intervine, all the flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and batteries, 25% off, and all you have to do is use my name, Tony, as your promo code at Intervine.com to get 25% off everything. Intervine is INTERVINE. Use my name, Tony, as your promo code to get 25% off everything at Intervine.com.
Republican Adam Schnelting is a husband, father, and soldier. As an Army combat engineer, Schnelting trained to fight for us, trained to solve problems, and that's just what he's been doing. As state representative, Adam fought to keep men out of our daughters' sports and bathrooms. He voted to cut our taxes and fully fund our schools. And his tough on crime stance has earned him the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. November 5th, vote Adam Schnelting for state senate, and he'll get the job done for St. Charles County.
Paid for by Schnelting from Missouri, Mike Summer, treasurer.
Well, if it's time to sell the house, why don't you go with the realty team that already has home buyers who are approved and could buy your house right now? That would be the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. Two great folks, Rodney and Jen Wallner, who happen to sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor. And besides the husband and wife perspective that you get, you can also do it in Missouri or Illinois. Just call 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Well, Vic, you're absolutely right, of course. I mean, here's my challenge. Just give them a call. Say, hey, Mike Ferguson was talking about you guys. Call Rodney and Jen, 314-810-SOLD, because when you are making a decision on something as crucial as your home, as crucial as real estate, you want people who know what they're doing, but you want people who are ethical, easy to work with, and focus on empowering you to make the best decision. Give them a call, 314-810-SOLD.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now! Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Friday afternoon, closing in on 3 o'clock. We are going to talk to the guys from the Haunted Garage in just about 10 minutes from now, as we've been doing every Friday leading up to Halloween. So very much looking forward to that conversation. Right now, it is time to get the all-important weekend forecast from Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, who is on the line with us. Steve, thanks as always for your time.
Hey, Tony, my pleasure. I think you're going to like what I have to say about the weekend.
All right, let's get to it. I can't wait.
It's a nice fall weekend coming our way. So that means cool to chilly in the morning and cool but comfortable in the afternoon. So low 46 for tomorrow morning, 66 in the afternoon. So no 70s. It's cooler in the 60s. But with sunshine, I think that'll be a nice day. Sunny skies, a few clouds in the evening, but it stays dry. Sunday, 43 in the morning, but it's a little warmer in the afternoon, 68. Plenty of sunshine, a real nice day. And if this weekend has you thinking, okay, all the warm air is done, that's behind us, here we go, it's cool fall weather, cold is on the way, wrong. I have 84 on Tuesday.
Wow. Wow. That's not even like mid 80s. That's not even just like a little warm up. That's actually getting up there a little bit. Is that how weird is that for this time? I'm always so confused. Like I feel like you could say it's going to be 88 one day, or you could tell me the high is going to be 88, or you could tell me the high is going to be 48. And I'd say, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, I just don't, I don't even know what to think.
Fall's always a transition season, up, down, but this has been a little weird. We've been pushing near records a few times, and we're going to do it again on Tuesday. 84, at least for now. We'll see if the forecast goes up. The record is 86 from 2016. So this is unusual. Yeah. The latest we've ever had a 90-degree day, by the way, which I don't have in the forecast, I just thought it's worth mentioning, is October 30th. So, you can get these 80s this late, but it becomes increasingly unusual.
I know we've got a little bit of time before we get there, but I got to ask you about Halloween. I know things can change between now and then, but it is less than a week away. What is your early thoughts about Halloween?
Yeah, we've had that on our 10-day forecast for a while, and we always tell people, look, 10-day forecast, we know we can't plan around the details, but we can see patterns, and we've been seeing this pattern of a cold front sometime Wednesday or Thursday being Halloween. And so we expected a cool down and we expect some rain. So Thursday right now, I have a high of 70 and a good chance of rain, but the models have been favoring the morning to like around midday. So I think if this holds, I think we're going to be able to get in trick-or-treating without too much trouble, but we're probably going to have a rainy period in the morning. Obviously, still several days away. If the front's a little slower and the rain comes in later in the day, boom, all of a sudden we have problems with trick-or-treating. But keep an eye on it. Check in for updates right now. If you're going to have rain, have it in the morning on Halloween. Get it out of here, and let's get the trick-or-treating on.
Yeah, it could come in a little early too, right? It could come in a little late or a little early. Maybe it's even earlier.
Yeah, it could come in Wednesday night and be done by daybreak on Thursday. So you're right. It could, it can shift about 6 to 12 hours this far out. The closer you get, the shifts tend to be smaller, 3 to 6 hours, something like that.
And then we are getting closer and closer to the clocks changing too. That happens just a week or two after Halloween, right? We're getting close to that.
We are. Actually, it happens like right after Halloween.
Oh, okay.
It's Sunday, November 3rd. So it's the Sunday after Halloween.
A few days, yeah.
And sunset tonight is like something around 6:10. Sunset on like in 2 weeks would be like 4:56. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have a sunset before 5 p.m.
Get ready to hear a whole lot of whining and complaining from me, Steve. I hate it should never be dark outside when there's a 4 on the clock at the front. It just makes me crazy.
I agree with you. And I feel like, there's momentum. It's not there yet to change the policy, but there's momentum.
I know.
To say, can we just choose one?
I hope
period?
that happens.
I don't even care which one. Just give me one.
Yeah, no kidding. Steve Templeton, thanks as always so much. I'll take it. 66 on Saturday, 68 on Sunday, and sunny. That's a great weekend forecast, in my opinion. Really appreciate your time as always, my friend. Steve Templeton from Channel 4.
Have a great one, Tony.
Yeah, I got you. Have a great weekend. All right, we are going to get ready for your weekend and Halloween with the guys from the Haunted Garage. They join us next here on Colombo Company.
You know grit when you see it, and Robert Crump's got plenty of it. A Navy veteran, Crump is steady, unshakable, always pushing forward for Missouri. Pro-Second Amendment, Crump knows you have the right to defend yourself, your family, and property against violent criminals. Like the mighty Mississippi, Crump doesn't waver. He stands firm to protect your freedoms. Send Robert Crump, Republican for State Senate District 1 to Jeff City. Strong, unyielding, fighting for you. Robert Crump.
Paid for by Crump for State Senate 2024. Chris Clark, Treasurer.
Rev up at Mount Vernon Fall Fest presents free entertainment September 27th and 28th at the SSM Health Good Samaritan stage. Southern Grit takes the stage Friday night, followed by Hunter Girl. Saturday welcomes Stir of Echoes, Danger Party, and Fuel. Find the full list of fun at mtvfestivals.com. Withers Broadcasting, Mount Vernon Tourism, Deaconess Illinois Crossroads, Munkin Toyota, Enjoy Illinois, and Continental Tire are proud major sponsors of the Mount Vernon Fall Fest.
Craving the most delicious pizza in town? Head to Monocle's on Highway K in the heart of O'Fallon. From thin crust to pan pizza, gluten-free options, and every topping imaginable. Monocle's, as you covered. Indulge in mouth-watering calzones, party-sized salads, and our famous sweet and tart dressing. Family-owned and locally operated, Monocle's serves up love and care with every bite. Dine in or carry out, and don't forget to try our banana-licious monkey bread for dessert. Order online at monocles.com or stop in today and tell them News Talk STL sent you.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
I'm Jason Weicker. Both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris campaigning today in the Lone Star State. Mr. Trump in Austin, where he met with Border Patrol agents. He also met with the mother of a young girl who was killed by an illegal migrant. Harris, meanwhile, in Houston, cavorting with bunch of famous Hollywood entertainers. Yesterday, the former president was in Las Vegas saying that Harris is simply not up to the job of being the next president.
They think she is grossly incompetent. Let's face it. She's not doing well. We can't have her as president. Can't have. We've had that for 4 years. We're not going to go another 4 years. She broke it, and I promise you I will fix it, and we'll fix it fast.
Well, the Biden administration seeking information about the state of competition in air travel, saying it wants to learn more about the effect of mergers and joint ventures. Also, at townhall.com, GOP leaders mapping out an agenda for the first 100 days of Congress next year.
Republicans in the Senate and House hope to combine forces in the next Congress, and with a hoped-for win by former President Trump, they should be able to advance a number of key priorities. Cutting taxes would be job one by voting to extend the earlier Trump tax cuts that are otherwise set to expire at the end of next year. Other priorities include completion of Trump's border wall and defunding parts of the government Republicans say have been weaponized during the Biden-Harris administration. Bob Agnew reporting.
When Donald Trump gets back to the White House, Republicans hope he will fulfill a long-standing GOP goal of privatizing mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Two companies have been under government control since 2008. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The Pope is dead. From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Rafe Fiennes, Stanley Tucci.
Ambition becomes corruption.
Don Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I have to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing only in theaters.
What are you going to do if Kamala wins? Moving to gold now is an option. At Premier Gold, we specialize in helping those with a 401k or other types of retirement accounts convert their vulnerable paper assets into physical gold. Today, we'd like to send you a free gold election kit to help you decide if this is right for you. Call 606-800-8000. Premier Gold is not a financial advisor. Please consult with your advisor before investing. Call 606-800-8000.
Gasoline prices go
from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It was nice to see some rain across the area this morning. We didn't get a lot, but at least we got a little rain at Lambert, I think about 0.05 of an inch, so that's better than nothing. Slow clearing today, a mild day with temperatures in the low 70s, turning cooler overnight with lows in the 40s and highs on the weekend in the mid to upper 60s under sunny skies. It is going to be a beauty. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening.
And it's happening a lot faster.
What matters most is
the only question that matters here.
Are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country.
Depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need.
Here are the facts.
When you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys have a great radio station.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. With the average funeral bill being over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Call 314-866-8886 or memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Fox News commentary.
A woke doctor refused to publish a $10 million taxpayer-funded study on trans puberty blockers because she didn't like the results. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Dr. Joanna Olson Kennedy, one of the biggest proponents for trans hormone intervention and care, is trying to bury a $10 million taxpayer-funded study on puberty blockers because the findings don't suit her crusade. This NIH taxpayer-funded study followed the mental health journey of 95 subjects with an average age of 11 who had received puberty-blocking drugs. 2 years into the study, there was no evidence these drugs improved their mental health. And that's precisely why Dr. Olson Kennedy doesn't want you to know about it. In fact, she flat out admitted the findings would discourage the use of these puberty blockers, and that's what concerns her. But this is nonsense. The American public has a right to know the long-term implications of these drugs, and the fact trans advocates want this study hidden is quite frankly chilling. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
When it's important to you,
They always discuss the most important topics.
it's on News Talk STL.
The people of Iran should know Israel stands with you.
If the Israelis decide to enter by land, the resistance forces are ready for a ground engagement.
Hurricane Helene ravaged North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida.
News, analysis, opinion.
We're not talking about politics now. We have to all get together and get this solved.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
My talk station.
News Talk STL. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Big thank you to Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning, Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show, Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4, all joining us in that 2 o'clock hour. If you missed any of that conversation, make sure you are subscribed to our podcast, which we put out. We put out every show as a podcast right after we get off the air each and every day on basically every podcast platform. So wherever you get podcasts, just make sure you're subscribed to Colombo and Company. You won't miss anything that happens here on the show. We've got the folks from the Haunted Garage and Haunted Souls Paranormal in the studio. We're going to talk to them in just a second, as we've been doing every Friday leading up to Halloween. We've got some more cool stuff for you to play and talk about this afternoon. But first, we also have on the line, I'm telling you, Colombo and Company, we got a lot of company today. And on the line with us is our buddy Jason Nelson from Somebody to Love, the Queen Tribute Band, also the Retro Nerds. And of course, speaking of Somebody to Love, Jason, as we've talked about, I've talked about, and I can't believe we're getting closer and closer. November 30th, my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, the return of Katie Fitzpatrick, and Somebody to Love. You guys getting together for a great show out at Diamond Music Hall. How excited are you?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, how excited are you about the show? And tell folks that maybe don't know about it, about everything that's going on.
Rehearsals have been going great. We're very excited. Yeah, this is the 8th year of performing with Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen, and everybody's very excited. Yeah, Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Get your tickets at diamondmusichall.com. And sponsored by Weber Chevrolet. Thank you so much. But Tony, are you ready? You're going to return to stage,
dude. I'm so excited. You know, our band only plays a couple times a year, and we do that on purpose. You know, all the guys in the band are very, very busy. Most of them, with other musical projects, just much like yourself, just have a lot going on. Obviously, everything that's going on with me and, Katie and her new gig and all of that. So, we don't want it to be something that we get, burned out on and it becomes something like, that's not special. So it's very intentionally only play, a couple times a year. And so every time it happens, it's like Christmas all over again. Like we just get super excited about the opportunity to get on stage, and especially a show like this, because Diamond Music Hall, great venue. I can't wait to see Duran and Duran, which if people are wondering, that's a tribute to Duran Duran, believe it or not. And also every chance I get to see you guys. I mean, obviously the Retro Nerds and some of your other projects are absolutely fantastic, But kind of like my band, the Somebody to Love Queen tribute, that's another band that you don't see. It's not like you guys put that show on every weekend or anything like that. So it's a special
in
night.
2024, we are only performing in the St. Louis region once.
Wow. That's
incredible. This is it, folks.
Yeah.
Come on out. Time to party.
So I could do it. You want me to brag about this Somebody to Love set or in the performance, or do you want to do it? Because I think it's just it's a second to none stage performance. I mean, the music is great, obviously, and that's the most important thing. But you guys put so much more work into it. You perfect the music and the sound and all of that, and it's so well. But there's also a lot more that goes into it, right?
A lot of national touring tribute bands to Queen, they use a lot of backing tracks. We don't. That I'm not taking anything away from their performances, but we have 5. We call them the Somebody to Love chorus. 5 backing singers. Everything you hear on the album that Queen put out, that's what you're going to hear live.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing show. The energy in the room is second to none.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
Cannot wait. It's, again, as Jason said, November 30th. So just over a month away. Tickets available now at diamondmusichall.com. You can get your tickets and more information there at diamondmusichall.com. And we hope to all see you out there. My band, the tribute to Duran Duran, and then Somebody to Love, tribute to Queen. November 30th, Diamond Music Hall. And Jason, in the meantime, Retro Nerds, where can people keep up with everything else that you guys are doing?
Yeah, this weekend, I'm doing my tribute to Bee Gees and ABBA in Collinsville at the Miners Theater. It's sold out. Wow.
Could you add one more project to your plate? That is incredible. That's awesome, though. That is awesome.
Oh, my. Yeah. Thank you again, Emily. Yeah. Thank you, Tony.
You bet, dude. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again very, very soon. And remind folks one more time, diamondmusichall.com is the place to go to get your tickets and more information about our show coming up on November 30th out there at Diamond. All brought to you by Weber Chevrolet, who's done so much for the local music scene. Jay, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
You too. Stay well.
Yeah, you
Bye.
bet. Thank you. Great stuff there. That is going to be a lot of fun. Can't believe that November 30th is only a month away. Also, only a week away, less than a week away, is Halloween.
Yeah.
We've got the guys from Haunted Garage and Haunted Souls Paranormal in the studio. Frankie, not here this week, but Dan is back with us. And we have Madison from Haunted Souls as well. So it's great to see you. And Madison, welcome to the studio for the first time.
Thank you. I walked in. I was like, ooh, I like this place.
We like having you here. Madison was a part of. So Dan, we talked last week, and I've got a little more sound I want to play. Last week we were talking about a picture from Emmaus from the night that we were out there. So a couple weeks ago, if you guys remember, we've talked about this. Myself and Emily, and then also Nick Schroer and Alex and Eric, from the Stand and Fight, which you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. We all got together with Dan and Frankie and the team from Haunted Garage and Haunted Souls, and we went out to Emmaus Village. It was a 3-show crossover event. And a first of its kind 3-show crossover event. And we've kind of been releasing some pictures and sound, and as we get closer and closer to Halloween. But Madison was part of that, so we got all a chance to hang out there, and now Madison's in the studio for the first time. Dan, I want to talk about Emmaus and play the sound and get your thoughts on it here in a second. But I also want to talk about you guys were recently featured on Channel 4. Correct?
Yes, we were
just talked to Steve Templeton from Channel 4, the chief meteorologist over there. So we got a lot of connections here.
They actually did a 2-part series with us Wednesday and Thursday night. Or
Awesome.
4:55. You can follow them on if you go to Haunted Souls Paranormal on Facebook, or if you want to go to Haunted Emmaus Village on Facebook. They're both there. They're linked there.
Awesome.
And then I just sent them to you. So
perfect. I will link. I'll either link directly to the video or I'll link to one of those websites on my Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, which you should be doing, at Tony Colombo Talk on Twitter, we'll get you that link to watch that video as well. But I mean, it's really like, we got a 3-show crossover event here at
Oh,
News
yeah.
Talk STL. You guys are on television.
Yeah,
I mean, this is,
it was pretty cool. I mean, they came out on Tuesday to do the interview after the night that we were there.
Mhm.
They came out Tuesday, and they were like, "Yeah, it's gonna run next week." And then Frankie said, "Oh no, they bumped us for another thing." And then he's like, "They want to do a 2-part thing since it's such a great spooky thing." And Ken was on there on the couch there on Channel 4, and he was waiting for a 3rd part. Ken was like, "Yeah," was like, "I need another." There was a part 3?
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so
Well, I mean, it goes to show you. So we've talked over the last few weeks since you guys sort of introduced really Emmaus Village to the area about a month, 6 weeks ago, something like that. It feels like we rolled it out and we're talking about it for the very first time. And in that short period of time, we've got all this attention on Emmaus.
Yes.
And it just, I think, goes to the point that we've made about how impactful and what a big deal this is for the paranormal community. This is
it's huge.
a special
It's really
place when
huge.
it comes to that. Remind folks, because it is so brand new. We get caught up in it because we've all been there and we talk about it so
it's
much.
70 acres of buildings to investigate. It's 300 acres alone just in property with 4 cemeteries. Right now, we have 5 buildings that you could investigate. There's more that's coming as they fix buildings up. It's crazy. Each building almost has, I think, like at least 3 to 4 floors. So everyone has a basement. I mean, there's just tons of space to investigate.
And can you give the brief history of the place?
Yeah, it was built in 1859 as a seminary. Then Lindenwood opened up, and then they cleared that, and then it turned into an asylum and stuff. They have documentation that say that the first autistic patient was there.
Oh, wow.
And stuff. So it was the first asylum opened up in the state of Missouri, and I believe on this side of the river.
Yeah, it's just endless when you're out there. There's so many buildings, areas, rooms that you can investigate, and it really is a special place for the paranormal.
Mandy was just asking. We were sitting out in the lobby, and she was like, "So, what is your number one space right now?" Because we always ask what the number one building, what area.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's kind of biased. It's Emmaus because, that's our baby.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, you have to categorize things of like, apparitions, EVPs, pictures, different, and a certain place has my, my thing right now because I've seen some apparitions there.
Yeah.
But Emmaus is surely butting that out of the way with
Listen,
this
I've
stuff.
been to a lot of crazy places over the years doing paranormal investigation, very famous places, and I've never seen something as active as Emmaus. So it's got my.
What is yours, Maddie? What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I would say Emmaus right now.
Yeah.
The disembodied, the voices that we hear are so unexplainable. Like the things I've seen the crawler at Missouri State Penitentiary, but I could say, okay, maybe it was my eyes. Maybe it was forming something that wasn't there because it was all the way down at the end of the hallway. But the voices that we've heard is like, there's no one, you can't explain it. It's so unexplainable.
Madison, how long have you has this been something that you've been into for your whole life? I'm gonna just kind of talk to you about your experiences and your your history with paranormal investigations and everything. Just give us a quick little background.
Yeah.
Quick little story about you.
So when I was really young, my grandpa actually passed away before I was even born, and I used to play with him. And one day my parents brought out a picture of him. And I was like, oh, that's Papa Klein. And they're like, how do you know who that is? And I'm like, I play with him.
Wow.
So I was a really creepy child.
And
or
just a very,
very open to
connection.
it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And a special ability.
And so I grew up watching people do the paranormal. So I kind of did that. And then my dad actually brought me onto it. And he was like, hey, do you want to go on a ghost hunt? And I was like, sure. And I've been doing this since I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about 5-6 years, and I've still had the love for it.
Yeah.
Every single day.
When you with your dad and Frankie, you were probably one of the first people to get to experience Emmaus because it was before everybody else even knew about it. So what was it like for you with having that lifelong sort of connection to paranormal investigations and that whole world? What was it like the first time you went to Emmaus, and how big of a deal has this been for, like, as far as activity and things that you've seen as far as the location is concerned? How much does it stand out against others?
When you walk onto the property or when you're driving up to it, it is the most captivating place where you just stare at it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you don't even have to walk into a building. You're like, there's something here.
Yeah.
The energy, the buildings, all of them give off. You're like, how big is this place? And you haven't even seen half of it. And just the way it stands out is this place. It has like a special place in like my heart, not only because we are investigating it, we do have a contract, but um just you're always on edge. You're always like, okay, what was that?
Yeah.
And the things that you captured, not only with your eye, but your cameras, is something that I've never, ever happened in the past 5 years.
I totally agree. It's the most active place that I've ever experienced. I want to play some sound that we caught in a second, not right this moment. Sorry, Emily.
Slap your hands.
Sorry, a minute. This is a tease. This is a tease that I'm doing right now. So I'm going to play some sound in a minute. Also, you can go to my Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk, and you can see the pictures that we posted last week of the mist or the shadow in the corner. And we had that conversation on the show last week. We'll remind folks about the Haunted Garage show that you can hear every Saturday night, 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL. So make sure you're tuned in tomorrow night to the Haunted Garage. I'll ask you this again later, but if people want to learn more about Emmaus and want to sign up for their own paranormal investigation, if they want to, come out and see it, what are all the best places to, or the best place to get
if you want to come out to the public event, investigate with me and Frankie and Maddie, and another, it's gonna be open to the public November 16th. We do have tickets on sale. You can go to that by emmausvillage.com. That's EMMAUSVILLAGE.com. That's our website. We have all the tickets there for you there. Haunted Emmaus Village is our Facebook page. Haunted Souls Paranormal, with Souls with Z at the end, is on our Facebook page too. And you can get tickets. There's an event on each one of those pages.
Awesome. Yeah. EmmausVillage.com, Haunted Emmaus Village on Facebook. Check it out. If you want to learn more, if you want to get involved, if you want to go out and see it for yourself and sign up for a investigation, you can do that right now. Just go to EmmausVillage.com or the Haunted Emmaus Village on Facebook. We got Dan and Maddie here from Haunted Souls Paranormal and the Haunted Garage, and I've got some sound, the EVP from our investigation out at Emmaus, and I want to play, and I want to get Dan's thoughts on what we captured, if anything, and kind of unpack that and more as we roll through this Friday afternoon on Colombo and Company.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo inviting you to join my band along with Somebody to Love, Tribute to Queen, for an awesome night of music Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Join us as we kick off the season of holiday cheer with my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Support live local music and join us for a great party Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
New political surveys are out, and guess what? It's still too close to call. These are the polls from the Marist College showing Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Very tight races. In Arizona, Trump has 50% to Harris's 49%. North Carolina, the same, but Harris at 48%. And they're tied at 49% in Georgia. So with the town hall meeting with CNN that Harris did that help her any? Well, Jake Tapper said Harris spent too much time attacking Trump instead of presenting her ideas. That's absolutely true. And CNN political commentator, former Obama advisor Van Jones said, there were flashes of Kamala that I know who is really a true public servant. She really does work for people. In the back of her mind, she's trying to figure out, how do I solve the problem? She sometimes skips things. He said, and then I add, the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. Van Jones, you're not the only one that gets on your nerves when she starts in the word salad. Oh, and CNN's Dana Bash put it very simply. Harris did not close the deal.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
The Cafe Napoli family is adding another great place for you to enjoy. Where? Well, first, let me remind you, you have the original Cafe Napoli, downtown Clayton. Napoli 2, Town and Country. Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. Plus, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the Chesterfield Valley. And opening soon, Napoli Kirkwood, right downtown Kirkwood Road. Napoli Kirkwood.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family-owned and operated, with owner Dean Kleethermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
North Korean troops joining with Russian troops fighting Ukraine. North Korea already suffering casualties. What's next?
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company. Less than a week away from Halloween, and we started this on Friday the 13th in September. We started this series with the guys from the Haunted Garage and Haunted Souls Paranormal. Leading up to Halloween, every Friday we talk to usually Frankie is here, but Frankie has a very busy weekend.
Getting married
He's
tomorrow.
getting married. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Frankie. And that is so awesome. And Dan, also from Haunted Souls, and Maddie is here for the first time from Haunted Souls Paranormal. And we've had this Friday series going to just kind of, get prepared for Halloween and this haunted season. And I love paranormal investigations. I love paranormal content. It's something I've done for years and years, on the radio. And And this experience that we've had, like we've talked about a lot of topics on this segment, but over these last few weeks, we've really been focused on our own experience out at Emmaus Village, which has just been incredible. Like this, I cannot recommend it enough for people that are paranormal, that are into this stuff, or if you're looking for maybe
a chance to start
yes, exactly.
Yeah, because we give you, I mean, if you really want to start and learn, but you're like, I got no equipment, I don't know what what am I doing or what equipment does what, come out to our event. That's what we do for new people. We love the new people that are joining the paranormal. We teach you how to use the equipment and everything, and then we loan you that equipment. And then you get to be your own investigator. So you don't have to worry about equipment and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
I love that too. I love that because when we were out there, like I said, we were out there with the guys from Stand and Fight, of course. Missouri Senator Nick Schroer. Stand and Fight is a show you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. Haunted Garage you can hear every Saturday night. You can hear Colombo and Company every day. The 3-show crossover event, and you guys strapped up our team with those body cameras and gave us, what are the motion detectors called?
The REM pods.
The REM pods, yeah. And then the K2 meters, yeah. I mean, all the equipment, we were looking good. We were geared up.
And now you know why.
Geared up and professional and looking good.
Now you know why we call Frankie Hollywood.
Yeah.
He has everything.
Exactly.
He straps you up with a vest and all that stuff.
Like, what? So we captured a lot out there in just our investigation. I can't imagine with how many times you guys have been out there and all the times that you coming up that you guys will be out there. More and more evidence that you'll get. Last week on the show, I posted on Twitter, on my Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk, right before a couple hours before last week's show, a picture of one of the rooms in the basement there or downstairs there at Emmaus, and where there is clearly, I took 3 pictures in a row. They're all on Twitter, back to back to back immediately. And you can see in the corner of this room that in 2 of the pictures, there is nothing. It is a brightly lit, empty corner. And in one of the rooms, there's clearly something there. We talked about, I thought it was a shadow or a shadow person when I first saw it. And then after looking closer into it, and especially after you had talked about what you had seen, I think maybe more like a mist.
Yeah, like a gray, it looks more like a gray mist. And I want to tell you funny real quick, if I can. So Channel 4 was out there, Steve Harris was out there, and we're in that room, and I'm showing him, and you'll see it on the first, if you watch the first video, I am about to show him that picture of where we're standing, and we have a K2 meter, and it starts just burying. As soon as I pull that picture up and start talking about it, that K2 meter, and he's like, they got it on film, and they're like, that never happens.
That's crazy.
And it was just weird nothing was going on until I brought that picture out and started talking about that picture. And then here I am, I'm still here, I haven't left.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. You can still, that picture's still up on my Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk. And we've got more. There's a picture we're going to post next week as we get closer to Halloween. That is just incredible. I know a lot of people have seen it already. We've talked about it. We've kind of teased it, but I'm going to put it on my Twitter. We're going to get into it next week. Is one of the most amazing pictures I've ever seen. The picture of the boy is just
my boy.
Incredible. My boy Blue.
That's my boy Blue.
Okay, but right now I have a little bit of sound that I wanted to play. Again, we're talking to Dan is here from Haunted Souls Paranormal in the Haunted Garage. So is Maddie from Haunted Souls Paranormal, and this is from our investigation a couple weeks ago out at Emmaus. The voice you'll hear in this is Dan. We're downstairs. We're in that same room where I captured that picture. And you are asking if anything, if there's a presence in the room, if they could make themselves known with a knock. And here's what we captured.
And wants to communicate.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Oh boy. Oh no. Did they look at this? It's not playing. I'm clearly clicking. Did they follow you here?
And maybe they followed you here.
Maybe they followed you here, Tony. You were in the hole.
All right, well, let me work on this. Where did you go? I went to touch the volume and it stopped, and now the whole thing is just frozen.
Welcome to our world, Tony.
No kidding.
Our podcast on Tuesdays. Oh my God.
Here we go. One more time.
All right, here we go.
I think I got it this time.
Okay.
Here we go.
And once you communicate, can you please knock for me like this? Knock for me.
Right.
That was a knock.
Yeah, like it
knocks twice like that.
Yeah, and then
It's not as loud. It's not as like because I'm banging a flashlight against the wall,
right?
So you're not going to get that exact same sound.
And we do hear this clip that I cut out to play is less than 30 seconds. The whole recording is minutes long, and there are other points in the recording where there are people walking in another room, or there's movement. Somebody, takes a big breath or kind of adjusts their feet as we're all standing in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you hear what
sounds like.
All that sounds like. You hear what human steps sound like.
Mm-hmm.
You hear what all of that sounds like. And that is not what we heard there. So I'm going to play it again. And it's just a few seconds after Dan asks for if there's a presence, if they could knock. You'll hear two, and then wait another couple of seconds, and you'll actually hear, I think, another one or two knocks after that. So here's this one more time.
Let's communicate. Can you please knock for me like this? Knock for me.
I mean, that's so.
Oh,
it's so clear.
And that's the thing, though, is you were holding your phone.
Yes.
You weren't. It's not like we had a phone laying on the table where
No.
someone could have tapped the phone. That is clearly a tapping because you're holding the phone in the middle of the room.
I'm holding the yes, exactly. And because I've done this before, like I know not to breathe, like, don't breathe heavy. Don't make, don't be, I sway when I stand a lot. Like I have this
We all
people
do.
joke about like watching me talk is little give them motion sickness. Like, so I need to be careful to not do that, when this is happening. So I'm very conscious of being still and quiet and not making a sound.
You're spatially aware.
Yes. And so that was happening. And then when I went back, and I truly did not expect to hear anything because I didn't hear anything I didn't hear anything at the time.
And that's the thing with like paranormal like evidence. Like I wasn't expecting to hear anything too, because how many times have we sat in rooms for hours and had like video recorders going and we hear nothing, absolutely nothing. So when you played that back, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot of especially here in Emmaus that we haven't heard ourselves, but Frankie's reviewed on video, and we hear the laughing of the little boy, the lady saying, do you miss me? And the lady singing. So we get those sounds when we don't actually hear. It's like yours. We didn't hear the knocking. And then when you played it back, you hear the doom, doom, doom. And it's like, that's one of my favorite things to do on EVPs anyway.
Yeah. So why is it just trying to do anything that you can to make connection or get a response, or is the knocking something specific that maybe is something that is easy for the other side, somebody on the other side to do? Like, is there a reason that the knocking is one of the tests that you use?
I think personally that knocking is just such an easy way for them to communicate, because I feel like it depends on the energy or how they can make sound. Some people can make sound by footsteps, knocking, whispers, the actual voices. So sometimes you have to change the way you want to communicate with them, because maybe they can't talk, but they can make a knocking sound.
And I think they're very intelligent there. I think they want to talk to us. They want to tell their stories. They haven't seen nobody there. It was closed in 2017. So they really haven't been able to communicate or talk to people. So that knocking and, just making themselves presence and the voices is just really crazy right now with that. And I think they really want this, curious to why we're there too.
Yeah. So particularly, like most of the stuff that we've talked about so far all happened at basically the same time or in the same few minutes. The the picture of the corner that we posted last week, this sound that we played, the picture that we're going to show you of the boy next week. In your opinion, Dan, is that all because it was all happening about the same time? Is that one entity doing all those things? Was that the same thing? Was it the same boy in the door that was the mist in the corner that was knocking to you, or is this?
I think they were different. I think they're different. I think the mist was different. The little boy was curious. And like I said, I think he follows me around. The boy, it could have been the boy tapping too. He could be playing and communicating with us and stuff like that. But I do think they were two different, could be possibly three different things. There was a lot of energy going on right there. You remember what happened before that when Frankie shut everything down? There was a lot going on at that time. And then that's when we walked in the other room to kind of, break up that energy, that big flow of energy that was going on. So I think things were amped up at that time, right around there.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, but we are going to have you guys back on Halloween next week.
Yes,
we're going to do it on Thursday instead of Friday.
Yes.
And so we've got more to talk about with the guys from Haunted Souls Paranormal and the Haunted Garage. Dan and Madison from Haunted Souls, thank you guys so much for being here. It's great to see both of you. Again, on my Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk on Twitter, you can see that picture from last week. You can also get a link to see the stuff from Channel 4, the video that they captured, and then in the interviews that Dan and Frankie did recently on Channel 4. So check that out and go to EmmausVillage.com if you want to get more information about Emmaus and how you can participate in a ghost hunt, a paranormal investigation out there with the guys from Haunted Souls Paranormal and Haunted Garage as well. And of course, Haunted Garage tomorrow night, 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL. All right. Been a busy week. Emily and I will be back on Monday at 2 p.m. Have a great weekend. And in the meantime, keep it right here for the O'Reilly Report next, followed by the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
So would you like someone working on your car that says, I only know what I read in a book? No, I don't think so. So do you want a real estate agent that's just doing it part-time? Maybe a hobby? No. You want Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway, selling 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor, licensed in Missouri and Illinois, and they have so many approved home buyers, they can guarantee you an offer. Here's how you reach them. Very easy. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Now, keep in mind, Jen and Rodney, being a wife-husband team, also have a family perspective. They recognize everything involved is sometimes very emotional, and there's no obligation, no long-term commitment. That should put your mind at ease immediately. So reach out right now. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Jen and Rodney Wallner.
Looking to enhance your outdoor space? Trust Lime Concrete Block, your local experts since 1947. From Vertiblock and retaining walls to ready-mix concrete and outdoor kits, we've got all your residential and commercial needs covered. As a family-owned business, we take pride in our A+ BBB rating and industry affiliations, with special discounts for military and first responders. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, or distributor, make a decision set in stone. Call 314-638-9940 or visit our showroom today.
On December 19th, gather with the people who keep us safe. The David Dorn Foundation invites you to Cheers and Charity Christmas Happy Hour at Toy Drive. If you have a heart for our heroes, join us for just $20. Enjoy a festive evening of food and fun. Kids under 12 are free. Bring a toy or gift card for first responder families in need. Santa will be there for photos with the little ones and the big ones too. All the proceeds help our heroes. For details, visit dornfoundation.com.
Hey, Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at all.